Oh, it's like for like speaking better and shit?
No.
So why'd you say for the podcast?
Bacon's not real and neither are now. No, bacon's not real because if you go to a grocery store, there's too much bacon.
Keep working, your time will come.
It sounds like you're eating human bones. It's a mini. It sounds like you're eating hamster bones.
It might be stupid, but is India in the Middle East? I don't think so. Is it? What's up, y'all?
Welcome back to Ship Across the Border.
My name's Max. I'm with Chris, and today we have a special episode for y'all. So recently, last Tuesday, two Tuesdays ago, something like that, our season ended, and although it sucks, a lot of ups and downs throughout the year, but now we're kind of in this off-season, kind of like hybrid phase between like the season and then like off-season like lifting and open gym. So now we kind of have nothing to do.
We have way too much free time on our hands because we can't go in the gym for 2 weeks. So we're going to record a video on YouTube to explain what we learned in the last year of playing basketball.
So basically, what we wanted we actually tried to do this video after a week or after a month into the season. You don't remember that?
Nope.
We tried to do a podcast about like the lessons that we learned.
Dyslexic goldfish.
Accurate. Do you don't remember we tried to do a video of like the lessons that we learned and we never posted it because it was terrible?
How did it go?
Not well, that's why it's not. That's why nobody knows.
Buried in the drafts.
But also, I think that in the days after, like, okay, it was like a week or either a week or a month.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a week after I started playing because I came back like 3 weeks late, a month after you.
We didn't know shit.
And we were just talking about like what we learned throughout the week, throughout like the short little bit, and like the lessons we learned, and we didn't know anything and at all, nothing, and still don't know anything. And
That's very true.
So that never came out, but we're gonna try it again. So this episode is gonna be just 5 lessons from me, 5 lessons from Chris about what we learned throughout playing this college basketball season, but a lot of just like basketball. You want to start it off? What's your first lesson that you learned?
Ask questions. You have no idea how many times I could have avoided getting yelled at or being called a retard or any of
Nobody
the above.
called you a retard other
You
than
called me
me.
a retard. Yeah. Any of the above, if I just would have asked the uncomfortable question and looked like an idiot for about 12 seconds and then
It would save
went on
the-
with the day.
yeah.
It'll save you so much agony. Just be the one who asks the stupid questions. Like if they're explaining a drill and you don't understand what's going on.
Shout out Zymir because he'd be asking some dumbass questions.
But he's never getting yelled at.
Yeah, but he's not getting yelled at because he'll know what he's doing.
He'll make a joke, like he'll be stupid for like 2 seconds. But
Yeah.
because he did that, he's never the one getting yelled at.
'Cause
So
he'll never be
spare
fucked up,
yourself
100%.
the agony and just ask the dumb question up front. Because if you have a question, I guarantee you one of the other 20 motherfuckers in the gym also has the same question. So just save everybody some time and ask the dumb questions.
and some cardio,
That's probably true as well.
save her some lung capacity, and just ask a dumb question. Do you have any example of that where you're like, damn, I wish I asked this question earlier, or I wish I had this conversation earlier?
Get back to me after you go and I might get back to you.
Okay. So my first thing is kind of just like make a routine that helps you stay like level-headed and consistent. So I feel like, our team especially had tons of ups and downs, but I feel like a basketball season in general has tons of ups and downs. Very few teams win all their games. Like you're gonna win, you're gonna lose, you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have good days.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the most important thing is like staying consistent and staying level-headed through the ups and downs. And I feel like a great way to do that is make a routine. So you, like whatever shit happens, you can fall back on being consistent and being a routine. So I've already talked about on the podcast, like my pre-practice and post-practice where I do my journaling and I make my bed and I do my meditation and I write down some stuff that I did well at practice and like what I learned and stuff like that. But also like I've started doing just like waking up and I want to just feel more energized. Like I would wake up and I jump in a cold shower for the last like month and a half. I do like
Shout
a
out
bunch.
Chris Beeman
Shout
for
out
that
Chris
advice.
Beeman for that advice. I start off, take my morning deuce, and then I'd go right into doing like 30, 40 push-ups until I get the blood flowing in my body, and then just jump in a cold shower. All advice from Chris, which all help, like I guess, keep me awake, start my day off on a positive note, feeling good. And then, I don't know, I feel like even like a routine before I go to bed, which is just like I do some stretching, wash my face, put on more stretch, like whatever you need to do to feel good so that you can just keep being consistent and keep staying consistent like throughout the ups and downs. 'Cause that's the most important thing. It can't get too high or low.
I'm trying to think about if I agree with you on this one because I'm the kind of guy who loves fucking chaos And
You
but-
don't.
but I
Why are you
also-
lying though?
but
You don't love chaos.
No, I do like chaos because I don't like having shit planned out. I like shit to be sporadic.
I agree though, because like sometimes, for example, today I was gonna lift at 9:30 in the morning. Didn't do that because I slept in because I played 2K till 2 in the morning last night because we have nothing else to do, and so I hopped on the game very late. Went crazy though. I was like 6 for 10 from 3 or 6 for 9 from 3.
Moving on.
So I didn't and then I went to class, and then after class I was gonna go lift, and then all the like our bunch of guys on the team was like, we're gonna go at 3. So I'm like, okay, well I may as well just go at 3 with them. So it's like stuff changes, but I mean like that's like a big thing though. I just feel like if you do the same, like you can create small things to create consistency without like that
feel
need
you
to be
on that.
scheduled. Like there are some things like you can't plan for. Like you can't plan like some things you might have time to work out here. Some days like shit might come up, but like right when you wake up, you can do something the same thing every time. Right when you go to bed, or you can find time to do something.
See, I say I love chaos, but also at the same time, my day is very structured. Like the little things, I let shit get chaotic, but at the same time, I wake up and I do the exact same things for
exactly.
the first 4 hours of my day. I wake up, take a cold shower, pop my supplements, I'll go to class, then immediately after that, I'll go pop my pre-workout, go lift, go do all this shit. It's like, it's very structured,
Exactly.
but I also do enjoy chaos. Like we did not plan this really at all. It just kind of happened, and I like that because
But you knew we were gonna do a podcast today.
but it also like still came like
Or
very
whatever
spur
this
of
is
the
gonna
moment.
be.
Yeah, whatever this is gonna end up being.
Content. So what's your number 2?
You gotta give. This is more pre-college than it is in college, but maybe you can apply to in college. You gotta give yourself a chance. And what I mean by that is like we've done 15 of these now,
Yeah.
2 unreleased, and at least 80%
Plus that one that we did
That we
like
just
this at
threw
the
in the
beginning
garbage, or-
that you just don't remember.
Okay.
I can't believe you don't remember that.
We've done like 15 of these. 16
Not
if you
taking
count
enough
the dog shit
supplements,
one. Okay, and basically, at least 80% of the people on here came on here saying that they didn't send film, they weren't really trying to get recruited, and then by just like luck of the draw, or their coach talked to them, or someone pushed them to go do it, they ended up where they are. And if I don't think enough people go out of their way to genuinely give themselves a chance to play college basketball. Like they don't send the film because they're like, well, I didn't do this and I'm already too late and whatever.
They don't think they're good enough. What do you have to lose?
Exactly.
What do you have to lose?
I sent out film in late May. Like I had my account shit, and I got an offer in the middle of August.
It's very rare though,
I
so
don't think
be proactive with it. But
I understand that, but I don't think I could have gotten any luckier with the timing and all that stuff. But at the same time, it was a Hail Mary shot, and if I wouldn't have taken it, it wouldn't have happened. So I don't know. I would just say like not enough people. I don't know if it's because they don't believe in themselves or whatever it is, but just do the things that you would do even if you had like the confidence. I don't even know how to word this.
we could. I mean, this is something we talked about before the podcast, but this kind of relates to it. It's just like have tough conversations, get out of your comfort zone, put yourself out there.
Yeah, put yourself out there is probably a better way to word that. It's like I don't think enough people genuinely put themselves out there. It's more of a half-assed.
Like
effort.
closed mouth don't get fed. You feel me? That's what my dad always says. That's what my dad always
I
says.
almost want to pause that. But yeah, it's like I don't think enough people genuinely put themselves out there. Like, oh yeah, they sort of half-ass the idea of playing college basketball, where they send out a bit of film, they go to a few training camps or whatever. Whereas if you put 100% of your effort into it, I almost guarantee you anyone listening to this can genuinely make college basketball.
That's a very bold statement because like 3% of people play college basketball.
I understand that, but
And some like my mother and grandmother listen to this.
I still stand by that statement. As I think if you want to do it and you genuinely put your mind to it and you do the things, maybe the things on this podcast and among other, like just listen to the people that are trying to give you advice. I genuinely believe anyone can do it.
So my second thing is just different people have different needs. What I mean by that is like for a guy like I came into this year, I came into like just like my approach to basketball is like everybody's got to work hard. I'm working hard, so if someone else isn't working hard, like they're not doing as much as me, so like whatever. But I kind of realized like for example like Rari, who was on the podcast, I don't think he was on the visual, so I guess I don't know what he looks like, but he could not lift a weight for the next 2 years, and he'll be fine. But me, like I have to put in extra work in the weight room because came into the year 6'1", 6'2", 155, 160 pounds, 160 pounds soaking wet. So like I need to put in way more work in the weight room. And you like different people just have different things they need to work on, and you really need to work on. Like there's no like one thing that there's no like. I don't want to say there's no blueprint, but everybody has different needs and everybody has different things that they should be working on. Everyone has different weaknesses that they should be getting better at. And so no two people's like training styles, training sessions, like the things that they do in their extra time will be the same. Mm-hmm. So that being said, you really have to find like be critical of yourself and
Be
find
self-aware.
what you need to work on and what you need to get better at. Otherwise, you're going to stay in the same spot. It's kind of like that. So something like for me this year is like I really worked on I know that like if I'm going to get on the court, it's going to be for shooting the ball. And so I really spent a lot of time on my form, on the rotation, on the arc, on my release point, and all this different, like on the speed of the jump shot. But that's something that like somebody else, for example, like James, who's probably never going to shoot a jump shot in his entire career, might not need to work on. But I need to, maybe I'm doing that for an hour, 2 hours every single day. And I might be like, damn, like get frustrated. Like why is this happening to me? Which is honestly something that I've thought about because, I mean, I've never had a conventional jump shot. I've spent a lot of time on it throughout the years, and it was very frustrating. Like, my jump shot, I would feel like it's changing from day to day, and I'm like, why am I'm working so hard at this? Like, why do I have to go through this? And like, for example, somebody else who doesn't work nearly as hard as me can just shoot the ball the same way every time. That was frustrating to me at one point, but then throughout this year, I just realized like everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses and different areas where they need to work harder on. So that's my second thing.
As boring as it sounds, college basketball and the difference between people who aren't playing to people who are playing to people who are getting a lot of minutes to people who like the stars. What I've seen over 26 games,
Yeah.
that we've watched now, it's more or less how well they understand and how well they execute the fundamentals. I'm gonna be dead ass with you. Genuinely college practices are, if we have a 2-hour practice, 75% of it is genuinely going over fundamental basketball.
Dude, we start off every single practice by doing full court layups.
Like
Pounding the ball, doing a crossover at the free throw line, half court, other
college
free throw line, and a
basketball
layup.
is built.
And you would be surprised how many people miss layups and dribble the ball off their foot.
I've done it. I've done it.
And then when you add 2 balls, shit gets chaotic. And we're all in the top 3, 4, 5% of people in basketball.
I had the rest of this thing. It's like, it's as boring as it sounds. It's all the fundamentals, and nobody cares about your Hezi Jimbo. Literally nobody gives a singular fuck. I don't care.
You're not getting recruited for that.
No.
Because also, like, let's just say you have a mad good Hezi and you average 30 points a game in high school. You're not coming in as a 19-year-old college freshman taking step back Hezi threes.
No. I don't care what.
Nowhere.
Unless you're supposed to go D1 and
Maybe you play for Buff
decide to go
State.
D3.
Maybe you play for Buff State.
Like, it's just not going to happen. So if you're a 12, 13, 14, whatever, however old you are listening to this, if you're even listening to this, drop all of that fancy whatever stuff. If you're genuinely serious about playing college basketball, drop all of that and spend 80 to 90% of your time trying to learn how to read screens, how to shoot on the move, how to do one dribble pull-ups, how to not get ripped.
Make consistent left-hand layup.
Like really simple
With contact.
shit will get you on a college basketball floor and get you a lot of minutes. There could be a guy in college who's averaging 20 points a game, but he plays off 1 foot. He throws wonky passes, and I don't know, he plays like lackadaisical defense. And then there's a guy who averages 10 points and 5 rebounds, but he plays off 2 feet. He throws strong passes, and he's not a hothead and all this stuff. And that guy, I guarantee you, 10 out of 10 times, a college coach would rather have the guy average 10 points than 20 just because
And
of those.
can contribute to winning as well.
Yeah, and he'll fit into a system. And that's the thing, too. Like, that 20 points per game guy, that's very rare, and also that's hard to put into a system. It's hard to just take a guy who's averaging 20 points a game and then dull down all of his rough edges and then shove him into a system.
If you look at all the teams in our league, like the bottom of the teams who have that, the highest scoring player in the leagues are all on the bottom teams because they just play ISO ball
and they don't fit into
and
a
they
system.
don't fit into a system. So Kuka had that. I mean, he's a dog. He averaged like 25, but
But
like
the system was built around him. That's why they
Yeah.
didn't win. No winning college basketball team is built around one guy doing 5 dribbles and then trying to shoot a step back jump shot.
yeah.
That's
I'm
not
trying to think
realistic.
what other teams had players like that. I mean,
Buff State, the entire roster was built like that.
I'm trying to no, in our conference, like Sage was all just guards, like
They
that's
had a
not
little
as
bit of a
much
system.
structured.
The best
Elmira was like that with their best player.
The best example really is QK and Elmira. Those two teams.
Hilbert,
A little bit.
they were good, but they again, I don't know if they made any noise in their tournament.
That's the.
But then the best teams have like, you look at who that we played, Case Western, who's ranked like 5 in the country at one point, was like, their points per game were all like 12, 13, 10, 5, 10, 7, like just all around the same, all high field goal percentages, all high 3-point percentage, all high free throw percentages. Their assist to turnover ratio on the team was very high. Their allowed 3-point percentage versus like their shooting percentage was all really high. All the fundamental things are there. Nazareth,
Naz is a perfect
Fisher.
example
I
of
mean,
that.
Fisher has one dude averaging 20, but he's just a big, so he just like cleans up rebounds and like
It's an efficient
post up.
20.
It's a very efficient 20. But like all the best teams just are
If you
have system players.
if you listed the top 10 players, this is sort of the gap that.
I mean, Utica might be a
I might, but like I don't even want to go there because the coach said they don't play hard and all that stuff, so they're gonna get waxed.
They're also going Division 2 next year. Like, they're extremely talented.
They're gonna
players.
get waxed in the tournament if they play the way that they've played in our conference.
Yeah.
As has been previously stated. But the thing that I've noticed from sitting on the bench of a basketball team, that D3 college basketball team for 26 games, is that the best players all just have stupidly solid fundamentals. You can go through from number 1 to number 20, and they all just they play off 2 feet. They don't turn the ball over. Their coach can trust them, and that's really what it comes down to. So if your coach can trust you, you can get in the game. And if you can get in the game, you can get reps. And if you can get reps, you can get better.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down
Also,
to.
Cook is like the best thing I can give him. He's like Tim Duncan. The Cooks who he's on St. John Fisher.
Much more watered down.
Okay,
version.
obviously. He's like Tim Duncan with 1 squirt of Mio in it, maybe. And Tim Duncan's like Gatorade.
Go on.
But like he averaged 20 points a
out Tim
game,
Duncan.
and he was shout out. Yeah, Tim, if you're listening to this, come on the show. Come on the show, Tim. Like he won Player of the Year in our conference 3 years in a row. He averaged 20 points a game. But he's so
takes
fundamentally
3 dribbles I'm gonna say a game, but like every time he gets the ball, it's catch, face up, and he's looking to make 1 dribble and finish at the rim.
And if not, he's kicking it out, or he's getting offensive rebounds, getting putbacks, he's getting dump off layups in the dunker spot. He just knows where to be. And I mean, shout out our team for shutting him down all the times we played him. But like,
shout out Colby Moser.
He is a great player. But like, he just is so elite at the fundamentals that it makes him just so elite.
It makes you efficient.
Then you look at Park, you look at Haggard, like all these guys on Nazareth, who's just probably the most fundamental team I've ever seen.
Yes. And they're the second best team, maybe best team in our league if you're going.
And they were like the last 4 teams to be eliminated. They almost got a bid as well, and that would be a 3-bid league, which even shows the strength of the
Empire 8,
the conference. Yeah. So, you have anything else to add to that?
No, but just learn the fundamentals, master the fundamentals, and stick to them because they work. That's why they're called the fundamentals.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna get into that a little bit later with one of my other things as well. But so my third one is just. It's kind of outside of basketball, but like relates to basketball. We talked a little bit about it, but it's just have other things that bring you joy because there's so much ups and downs. And there was at one point this year, keeping a spade, where we lost like 6 games in a row, and practices were extremely physically demanding and we were running and we weren't playing we weren't playing good basketball. And so not that we were getting punished in practice, but it's just like the vibes just like weren't great, and like we were all like. It was just like not a great time in the season, and obviously it sucks to be losing, and like we were working hard, and then we had that like gap of like 2 weeks where we're practicing every day really, really hard, and we haven't won a game in it was like a month. Like it was frustrating for everybody and everybody involved, and like you have to have other things outside of basketball that bring you joy, that bring you pleasure, that so you're not just like in a depressed, mopey state, and like your mood and your happiness aren't dictated by something. Because also like basketball, this is actually something my high school coach told me, and I didn't have anything at like a podcast to fill my free time in. All I had is just basketball at my other prep school because like 4 hours in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, Ohio, away from home. Like all you have is just basketball. And when shit wasn't going well, like I was having a conversation with him. He's like, you need to find something else outside of basketball because at the end of the day, in basketball, you're gonna miss more shots than you make. So how can you put all of your pride, joy, happiness, and all your positive emotions into something that more than half of the time you're gonna miss, you're gonna fail. So you really need to find other things that bring you happiness. So like some things that even like playing the video games with my friends, something like this, the podcast, even just like trying hard in school and like getting good grades, it's just like something to feel some sort of sense of accomplishment and like satisfaction outside of the court so that I can pick you up in moments when team's not playing well, when you're not getting playing time, when you had a bad practice, when all this and that just isn't going well, that can keep you motivated to keep showing up every day and working every day and not letting the negative stuff build up on you. And yeah.
Number 4 is you're going to fuck up. That's going to happen. It's kind of leads off of what you were just saying there, but it's guaranteed. There's not a single freshman in the country.
There's not a single person in the world.
That's
not even freshman. There's not a single human being in the history of the planet.
Specifically, though, there's not a single college freshman who's going into a D3, D2, D1, whatever basketball team who's not going to fuck up plays, who's not going to mess up.
What was your biggest fuck up this year? Mine, we already know my biggest fuck up this year.
Yeah, yours was wild. I never had a moment like that, but there's a few of them. I mean, there was the one day where I had probably close to 20 turnovers in practice. I just couldn't hold on to the
That the day where
ball.
coach told you to get off the court, doesn't want to see you play anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. That was
That was a tough day. That was a tough day in the office.
That was a very tough day in everyone's life. I don't know. That was probably the worst day. And usually that or the one practice where he explained how you're not supposed. He wants everyone to stand in triple threat, which now makes a lot of sense because I was getting ripped a lot and I started doing that and it didn't happen anymore. But I was
Usually that is what happens.
I was sitting there with the ball over my head. And he just explained to everyone how you don't do that. You'll throw shitty passes. I went like this. And I threw a soft lob pass over to the corner. We were playing shell, and he just told me to get off. I just started running. I just
That's the fuck him and Shell is the worst.
that. And immediately after he said don't do that, it was a bad day. It was a very bad day.
Shell?
I think that was like 24 hours without food. That was a point in my diet where I was fasting. So I was 24 hours without food coming into a college basketball practice.
Do that to yourself. No one told you to starve yourself.
You're going to mess up. You're going to, and not even like from our freshmen up to our seniors too. Everyone's made mistakes this year, but the difference between the freshmen and the seniors was, or the people who just succeeded in basketball and didn't, was how they responded, and that's really what it comes down to. Is and coach is looking for that, by the way.
He calls up body language every day.
It cannot
every
just
day.
be our coach that sees, because he harps on everyone for if you
It's
make a mistake,
everybody.
he's watching. He's waiting to see how you're going to react. Because that's one, can he play you? If you make a mistake, can you get back on defense?
Because if you miss a shot, you're gonna compound that with a foul that leads to free
Exactly.
throws,
And
or like
that it's going to come down to, again, can you get on the court? Can you get reps? Can you get better? And that's the ultimate goal. So can he trust you to put you on? Can he trust you enough where if you miss a shot, he knows that if you turn the ball over, you're going to be the first one back on defense. If you miss a shot, you're going to not compound it by fouling the guy who just came down on a fast break and is
Give
about
up
to
an
make a
M1,
layup.
yeah.
Give up an N1. Can you get back on defense, maybe get a steal, and then fix your mistake? Like not freaking out when shit's going wrong. That's something that college coaches are most definitely looking for. The level-headed guy over the hothead who freaks out when things aren't going well.
yeah, because mental toughness is a huge thing. So that was 4.
That is indeed my fourth.
So now I go with my 4. I feel like we already touched a little bit on it when you talked about the fundamentals, but it's kind of just like stick with it, and you have to be like uncomfortable in order to grow. So an example of this for me is when we started off the year, and obviously I've never had a conventional looking jump shot, and I've been working for the last that's honestly probably how it started off.
Put your first jump shot.
Oh, that video post injury, yeah, that was
broken.
insane. But so I started working with Coach Long, our assistant coach, throughout the beginning of the season, and it kept getting gradually better and gradually better and gradually better. But in practice, when like game pressure was on,
Sorry.
shit, you do you. When the game pressure was on, and like I'm shooting, speeding up, like I wasn't like sticking with what we were working on, and I kept going back to like bad habits. I wasn't like fully committing, because then again, like although it's never been fundamental, I've definitely had success shooting the ball in the past, and so I kind of just kept going back to my bad habits just because that was what was comfortable. And in that moment, I'm like, hey, like all I care about is like making a shot right now. And then I kind of just shifted my mindset to just like, fuck, like I could hit infinite shots right now in practice, and I'm still 160 pounds and can't guard a parked car, and so I'm not going to play this year. And so I may as well just fully commit myself to the process and of mastering this technique, so that next year when I put on these 15 pounds that I'm working on throughout this off season and beginning of next year, so I can play, I'll have those game reps and I'll have that technique built down and mastered already, so that I can shoot the ball at a high level. And honestly, once when I actually fully committed to like getting the ball, not dipping it, shooting the ball like quickly, like rotating. The biggest thing for me was rotating the ball to the seams. I felt like every time I rotated the ball to the seams, like my arm would come off my hand weirdly a few times, and I just didn't want to like risk missing really, really badly in practice, to be honest with you, like hitting the side of the backboard or like airballing. And so I just kept shooting how I was shooting, and it was working, but it wasn't working to the level that I wanted it to be. And then once I just committed to like getting the ball and doing the same thing over and over and over again regarding what happens, committing myself 100% to the process, like, I mean, the first probably like 3 practices, I don't think I hit a shot. I was probably 0 for like 11, maybe the first 4. But then after that, slowly started hitting and getting more comfortable. And then eventually, like, we had that development game, and I hit like 5, 6, or 4 or 5 threes, like a few of them in a row, and it was just got to the point where I could do that and replicate that in game, and then that's kind of like a building block that I could build off throughout the summer and then into next year as well. So it's kind of just like stick with, like, you know what you need to do to get better with it, so stick with it and continue to be uncomfortable until that becomes comfortable. and then find something else that's uncomfortable and work until that towards that's comfortable. So it's really just like yeah, maybe like just like think with the future in mind and do what you need to do regardless of how you feel. Last one.
I'd be an idiot if I didn't list after, again, 15 episodes. Hit the weight room. That's been a consistent theme with pretty much every single, specifically smaller dudes, but really everyone we've brought in onto this podcast has at least mentioned or said once that they wish they would have gotten to the weight room earlier. And that's definitely something you'll notice going every level you go up in basketball. People are bigger, people are stronger, people are faster. That's really what it comes down to. So if you're not going to get faster, you're not going to get any taller, you only have one other option left. So you better start lifting weights, because when you get bodied and sent to the baseline and get called a little bitch in the first run of your college basketball career, it's not fun.
I wish I was there to see that. Kobe pushed you under the rim.
It's rough. So I should have boomed your little ass. He said.
Damn.
Shit is really different out here.
You know he wasn't dunking that. I'd probably just do a layup with his hand above the rim.
Yeah, 100%. But
Unless it's James.
at the time, I didn't know that, though. But yeah, it's like, for me, it was a shell shock, the level of strength difference between high school basketball in a little tiny town in Ontario and then coming to a D3 school in Buffalo. And I
Retweet.
don't know what it is, but everyone below the age of 16, 17 in basketball seems to be allergic to the weight room, at least that I know. I don't know if
Dude, keeping a spade, it sucks.
weight room?
Yes.
I love it.
It's like, okay, it doesn't suck. And like there are a lot of times where like music's bumping and a bunch of people are in there and it's fun. But like sometimes I just don't want to put my body under that type of pain. But then you have to like think like, okay, well if I don't put my body under this stress, then I will be spent another 8 months sitting on the bench next year, and that's not what I want.
Getting bodied in
practice, and that's not what I want. So you kind of again like just stick with it, and yeah, it's uncomfortable, but you got to put yourself through put yourself through the shit in order to come on the other side stronger.
There's no downside to getting stronger. I don't see the problem with it. I guess maybe some people are worried. I've heard like, three things come to mind.
Hell no, because no, if you're gonna say shooting, Desmond Bane
that's what I was gonna say.
Desmond Bane looks like a fucking
diesel truck,
brick shithouse, and he was in the 3-point contest. He averaged like 20 a game. So that's bullshit.
See, it's bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Though. Like, the three concerns that would come to mind.
If you
would be
keep lifting
shooting,
and stop shooting, you're gonna suck.
Yeah.
But if you keep
stop
doing
shooting,
it,
period. You're
yeah,
suck. But
exactly.
I would say shooting. Maybe if depending on how young they are, they'd be scared that they're gonna not grow. I don't know if that's like a thing actually based on science. They might shrink your spine because of the amount of weight. You sent me that video of the baby squatting 45s, which is not real. There's no
obviously
way.
It was not real.
There's no way.
That kid was 2 years old. He can't squat 135.
Maybe a valid concern is you'll get slower. But I guarantee you, a college coach would rather have a slow 200-pound kid that can shoot the ball than a quick 160 kid who can't play defense. Which is a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but also like if you are training the right way and training to be an athlete and be athletic, you won't get slower. You won't get slower. You just get more athletic.
But like I said, that's the only other concern I can think of.
And my last thing is just don't compare yourself to others. I know a lot of people that are college freshmen this year. A lot of people in similar positions as to me came in fucking knowing absolutely nothing, playing with grown men, and just spent this year as more of a learning and development year. And I know some people, for example, like one of my best friends here, Mac, who've already had on the show, who came in physically a lot more prepared than the other five of us.
And it showed.
And it definitely showed. And he was able to contribute and have an encore role this year. And it's just don't compare yourself to others and just run your own race and do you and wake up every day and do things that are going to progress you to be in the level and to be the person that you want to be in the future. And don't compare yourself to other people, because that like comparison is the thief of joy. Like you're not going to like what is comparing me to somebody else because it may look like a similar position, but nobody's in the same position. You're completely running your own race, so you have to keep that in mind and just keep doing you. And eventually, if you keep doing the right things for long enough, it will pay off.
That's fine.
That's my plan. We just have one thing that. Well, we ask all the guys like, what's one regret that you have? Just like one thing you would have done differently.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about this question. I'm being totally honest. You have to go first.
All right, I'll go first. What do you think of something? So mine is my biggest regret. I kind of already talked about it. Is just not sticking to Coach Long's feedback earlier. Mm-hmm. I feel like if I just stuck, cause I only started sticking with it like. I mean, we can see the date because it was like a few days before Alex came on the show. Because literally, honestly, everything happens for a reason, and I started really sticking with it and really rotating the ball to the seams before shooting and sticking with all the fundamental stuff that I was working on. 2 days before the first development, before the development game, and that was ended up being canceled. And honestly, I don't know. I was very frustrated.
That was the last development game.
Yeah, 2 weeks before the last development game. 2 days before the last development game, and I honestly I was very frustrated about that at the time. But honestly, I don't know if I was ready to be able to do that and be able to perform. But then, so that was canceled, and I had the next month to just work on my game, work on the fundamentals, and then when the development game time came, I balled out and I hooped and I just executed everything that I've been working on. And so I just wish that I stuck to the feedback since the beginning, and maybe I would have found myself in a different position near the end of the year.
I think I got one.
What's yours?
I would have said to have uncomfortable conversations
I was gonna add on to that after
earlier.
because
If I would have just went to like he asked me in the meeting, he was like, "Do you want to get yelled at?" And if I would have said no, it would have been like I wouldn't have.
don't get yelled at, but like there's different type of coaching styles. And so some people respond better and get motivated.
If I would have just told them up front, like whatever, it would have made the stress going into practice significantly less, and that would have solved the first 3 months where it was debatable whether or not I was going to be allowed to practice or not. So like. That would have solved all of my problems going from there on forward, and it would have made the year much more enjoyable for those 3 months. Because afterwards, it was chill. There was no stress coming to practice. I know I'm going to come and get better and do all this stuff. But those first 3 to whatever months, that would have been a time span where I would have been getting better and not just like trying to focus on not getting yelled at.
Yeah. I also had a very similar conversation, probably later than you did, which I 100% also think that if I had that conversation 2 months earlier, then I could have came to practice every day without that feeling of thinking like I'm scared to like not gonna play my game and I'm just gonna like play like a robot and be afraid to fuck up, and because at the end of the day, and not see any progress. Because I mean, if you're scared to fuck up, you're gonna fuck up. That's the thing. If you're skiing and you say don't hit the tree, you're gonna hit a tree. But like, and like if I'm on the sidelines and I'm watching and I'm paying attention to what's going on, I'm gonna come in and I'm only thinking about not fucking up. I'm gonna fuck up. I'm not gonna execute it properly, and then I'm gonna get yelled at, and then it's a spiral because then I'm gonna be play again, trying not to get yelled at, not to compound it. But if I just had that conversation earlier, explain to him that I feel like when I get yelled at, I can't take in the information the same way, and I feel like I'm playing with fear instead of just playing comfortable. If I had that conversation earlier, I think that because I mean it definitely showed that when after I had that conversation, started to feel more comfortable, started to play better, just because I was more comfortable, more confident in myself. So I also feel like definitely if I had that conversation earlier, could have changed some stuff. But I mean, you live and you learn, and should have uncomfortable conversations because and we already talked about this at the beginning as well. It's just like you got to do shit that's uncomfortable because the things that are the most uncomfortable are the best things for you because that's how you grow. You can only grow if you put yourself uncomfortable. It's like working out. You put your muscle under stress so it grows. That's it.
Calling it wraps.
I mean, anything else you want to talk about? What's your favorite memory from the season?
There's a few. It was probably one of the times when I was cooking in practice, and I got to.
And you pointed to.
Yeah, I was gonna mention this. I got to just go like this and point to Canada for all of my Canadian boys and just hit some threes. Probably that, or maybe when I won. What do we play? Bump or whatever. What's it called here? Where you
knockout.
Knockout. We played knockout, and I was sick as a dog. I really was debating if I should play practice not that day, and I could barely run, and I managed to win knockout.
Flu game.
Yeah, exactly. That might have been one of the ones.
I think mine was definitely that development game. I feel like I came into the year hurt. I mean, I expected to be able to get on the court a little bit, and that wasn't the case this year. And I realized quickly that I wasn't ready, and it's just a little very frustrating. Like off the court stuff happens as well, and it's just a very difficult and tough year for me mentally. And then just having that moment where I could just go out and play, and also the development games before that, I had a few good games, but I also wasn't playing great, and I wasn't playing to my potential even in those games. So just having that game where I could just go out and hoop and just play my game and just feel like how I felt when I was playing in high school, just going out and just battling with the guys that we just be working with in practice every day and just going out and battling. It was a very competitive game. We ended up losing by 2 in double overtime or something like that. But just that feeling of competitiveness and just being, because it's a different feeling when you're watching from the sidelines versus when you're immersed in it and you're that dude who's getting the play for and drawn for them to hit that last shot. It's a very different feeling. I just felt like the most engaged and the most tied to the game and the most emotionally invested in the game I have all year, and that was a very, very, very good feeling. I miss that feeling. That's a feeling that I work towards every day, and I trained because I want to feel that feeling again in college basketball. So that was a great feeling. And lastly, what is the best meal or pre or post game meal that you think we got this year?
Can I say the worst one?
Yeah.
The worst one was probably when I got Philly cheesesteak sub, and I downed it, and I felt like shit. And then the next day, I didn't get my order in fast enough, so he just gave me the exact same thing, and I had to eat it back-to-back days. Bro, I needed the calories, I needed the protein, so I manned up, I did the uncomfortable thing, and I
Sucked
ate
it up for the
another
gains.
1,500 calorie cheesesteak on that bus ride home. Post L too, I'm pretty sure. I think we lost both of those games.
Damn,
It
rough
just sucked
weekend,
from every angle.
rough weekend for the Beaminator. I think
From
mine.
like 5 pounds because of that.
I think mine was. I mean, the worst one was definitely that calzone.
Beef.
Okay, we went to this restaurant and I ordered a very simple corned beef sandwich and
I
onion
didn't even know
rings.
what that was at the time.
Corned beef sandwich, onion rings. I said onion wings, onion rings. Something I have at home all the time. Very ethnically Jewish thing. Now we're in Buffalo. Ethnically.
Unethically having fucking corned beef.
And I got my food half an hour after everybody else did, and on top of that, it was fucking terrible.
Booty.
It was like cold cut corned beef on stale rye bread.
That's what corned beef is supposed to look
No,
like.
it was not. It was so butt. It was so butt, and I was so upset. And that was very shitty. But also that place that we went to, that Kyuka Yuko weekend, where we got that corned beef hash, was fire as fuck.
Best Coast game meal. I don't know, bro. It's 80% pizza.
Some of those, bro,
Some of those pizzas are half
Pi-
decent.
pizza's hit.
I want you to know, I had a full sheet pizza in my fridge for a week after one of those games because Colby was walking
This
out
is
when
the-
I was walking in. He just gave it to me.
This is the most pizza I've ever. I'm not a pizza dude. Like I'd say before this year, my over under for pieces of pizza in a year, 365 days,
Don't be
49 and a half.
Okay, that's valid.
I would eat. I'd say I'm taking the under. Like I would eat under 50 pieces of pizza in a year.
I'm
And I would say,
not a
like,
pizza, I'm a pizza guy.
Maybe
for
under
sure.
30. Like I don't eat pizza like that. But this
I'm a-
year, this last 6 months, I've probably eaten upwards of 200 slices of pizza.
Yeah, it's probably close to that. I am a pizza guy, but I've never felt more like a college student when I was living off of nothing but pizza and protein bars for a fucking week.
Especially on road trips.
That shit is crazy.
College will do it to you. But you have anything else?
38 minutes and counting.
So that's it for this episode of Ships Across the Border.
Whether it's going to be a YouTube video, a Spotify thing, I don't know. We kind of just tried to merge a YouTube video into a podcast.
We just came in here, put press record, and started talking to y'all. So
Yeah.
let us know if you guys like this form of content
We need
better.
to start getting more feedback, bro. I wanna
Yeah.
know.
Let us know if you guys like this form of content better.
And hopefully
we'll
you get some value from this.
be back next time with another episode. Thank y'all for listening.
Pretty Caroline.